Yo, what is up guys, your boy IzuKage here with part 5 of what if Naruto could copy Kekkei Genkai. So guys, we need to talk. We just hit, not just, but we hit 6,000 subscribers. Like, what? Are you guys insane? Like, thank you so much. I have like no words. That's such an insane number. Also, I have a question. On screen, you should see a t-shirt. I was experimenting with some designs from merch. So you tell me in the comments if you guys would cop this or not. And it would also be on jackets as well. So with all that said, I hope you guys are going to enjoy the what if. So we left off with Naruto in his whole situation, but let's have a flashback to Hiruzen during Naruto's time in the Chunin exams. After Naruto's fight with his brother, the Hokage has been plotting a way to get rid of Naruto. He thought of many things like assassination, kidnapping, but those were all outside the window when Naruto came back from the land of waves. Kakashi told Hiruzen about Naruto's special ability. I mean, why would he hide it from the Hokage? They always speak. Like in the show, we see them speaking quite often. Plus Kakashi doesn't know Hiruzen's hatred for Naruto. So hearing this, Hiruzen realized how valuable that would be for the leaf. And if he could somehow extract the ability from Naruto's body and give it to someone like Mikula, he would be the most powerful ninja in Konoha history. But this would be a difficult task. Since Naruto has it, he can use it against him, and who knows how strong he is by now. I mean, he did take down a S-rank shinobi in the bingo book. So Hiruzen thought of something, and he would need the help from an old friend to have it work. One day in his office, Hiruzen called in Danzo for a private meeting. Danzo walked in with his 2 root Ambo guards following behind him, but they had to wait at the door. Hiruzen said to Danzo, "Hello, old friend." Danzo raised an eyebrow, thinking, "Friend? You call me your friend yet treat me as a traitor?" Hiruzen wasn't really trying to talk about the past. He has something he wants and desperately. So he says, "Danzo, the past is the past. I'm in need of your expertise on something important." "Oh, what might that be?" So Hiruzen explains to Danzo everything Kakashi told him about Naruto's abilities, and Danzo, to say the least, was very interested in this. So over the course of a week, Hiruzen and Danzo came up with a plan to capture and experiment on Naruto. So they knew he would put up some resistance, so they had someone tailing Naruto, watching him from a distance, keeping track of everything he does. And after this tracker found out, Naruto just sleeps out in the open, it was the perfect time to put the plan into action. First, capture Naruto. Let him say some final words, then finally bind him and then start the experiments. So back to the present with Naruto. He was in a pitch black room with only one light bulb above him. Out of the darkness, Danzo came out, and Naruto squinted his eyes to make out who it was, then was surprised to see that it was Danzo, and he was saying, "What are you doing here?" But before he could answer, Hiruzen came out as well, and seeing Hiruzen, Naruto knew what this was about. "Oh, so you think you two can kill me?" Hiruzen and Danzo looked at each other, then back at Naruto, then back at each other, and started laughing. It's like, Naruto, you're funny. But no, we know about your special ability you have, and we're gonna take it. Naruto was thinking about, how they could have found out, but that's the least of his worries. He needs to focus on a way of getting out. So Naruto started looking around, trying to find any way to escape, but it seemed hopeless, like he would have to, brute force his way through it. So even though they put this much planning into kidnapping Naruto, they didn't think to, use seals. So Naruto uses his ice and freezes the rope that was around his hands and just broke through it. He activated his Sharingan and immediately sprinted for Hiruzen. Hiruzen wasn't prepared for this and got kicked in the face into the wall behind him. Danzo weaved hand signs and said, "Wind style, vacuum successive wave." He sucked in a bunch of air and shot out a stream at Naruto, who, easily dodged it with his Sharingan, but from behind him, Hiruzen came out with the Monkey King Enma staff. Hiruzen swung at Naruto, who was barely dodging each one. Then Danzo came in with his kunai covered in wind chakra, making it longer and sharper. Naruto was running out of options, so he weaved and signed and slammed it onto the ground, creating a huge ice dome around Naruto. And it began to expand outwards, pushing both Hiruzen and Danzo away. So this bought Naruto some time, and he sat down, folding his legs in a meditative position, and began to meditate. So he entered his mindscape and appeared in front of the cage of the Kyuubi, and started begging for some chakra, but he refused. Naruto kept begging and begging, and meanwhile Hiruzen and Danzo are trying to break through the ice, but this ice is thick. With 3 C's, so it's not easy. And Naruto, back in his mindscape, he wasn't getting anywhere with Kurama, so he thought threatening him was a good idea. He said, "If you don't give it to me willingly, I'll take it by force." And Naruto flashed his Sharingan. Kurama, just seeing those eyes again, got angry and was ready to rip Naruto apart because, remember, the whole reason Kurama attacked the Leaf Village in the first place was him being controlled by a Sharingan. So Kurama relented and gave Naruto what he needed. But Naruto wasn't just going to use this and, amp his strength and speed. He directed the flow of chakra to his eyes, evolving them into a Mangekyo. Naruto, during this process, was, under unimaginable pain. Like, think of the worst thing you've ever experienced and times that by 3. So, but it doesn't last long. The bleeding stops and Kurama's chakra healed everything around his eyes, and he was ready. Naruto got out of his mindscape, and at the same time Hiruzen and Danzo used a combined attack to bust through the ice dome. Naruto looked at the both of them and then shouted, "Kamui!" A swirl pattern appeared in front of both. This huge swirl pattern appeared in front of the two of them, sucking both of them into Naruto's Kamui dimension. And after that, Naruto fell over due to exhaustion and overuse of his Sharingan. Naruto lay on the ground until the walls of the building came crashing in, and Kakashi with his ninja dog were standing there. He rushed over to ask Naruto what happened, but he was already passed out. So Kakashi took Naruto back home to rest. The next day, Naruto wakes up and he heads out to the living area, and he sees Kakashi sitting at the table with his head down. Naruto walked up and asked, what's wrong? And Kakashi saw Naruto, and at first he was happy, he's awake, and since he's been out for a good while now, like a day. But when went back to sort of a sad look. He explained to Naruto that Hiruzen along with Danzo have gone missing and no one can find them. So Naruto sat at the table with Kakashi and he activated his Mangekyo Sharingan and said, "You may not believe this, but Danzo and the old man kidnapped me and tried to experiment on me to gain my ability. So I had to trap them in my Kamui dimension." Kakashi's eyes widened in surprise, but he sat back in his chair and looked up and said, how could we even explain this to the elders? Would they even believe us? And with this, Hiruzen, can't return to his position of Hokage, so who would take up the mantle? So Naruto, this entire time, this is all in Kakashi's head, so it's been completely silent. And Naruto broke the silence and said, "So what should I do with them?" And Kakashi kept silent for a minute, then he spoke. But I won't tell you guys the plan yet. So back at the Hokage office, the elders had to take up the position of village leaders for the time being. So the first thing they wanted to do was get these foreign ninja out of their village. So they ordered all Sand Shinobi to leave, or other shinobi as well, all that came for the Chunin exams. They didn't want anyone being in their village when they literally can't find the main leader of it. So Next was to choose the next head of the village. They had many options, mainly Jiraiya and Tsunade. But Tsunade, she's nowhere to be found. So Jiraiya is really the next best thing. And, he's already in the village, so they just send the Ambu to get Jiraiya. And in a few minutes, he's at the door with Mikula behind him. Remember, this entire time they were off, like, training. So Jiraiya walks in confused at seeing the elders and not the Hokage. And the male elder spoke. Jiraiya, we've gotten word that Hiruzen has gone missing. His Ambu said he left 2 days ago and didn't return. The female elder said, yes, and Danzo has gone missing as well. We have no information about their whereabouts. Jiraiya didn't know what to say, but he was ready to leave immediately and start searching. But before he could move, the male elder continued. We don't know when Hiruzen will return, but this village needs leadership, and you're one of the best candidates. You studied under him after all. Jiraiya was opposed to the idea and refused outright, saying, he isn't fit to be Hokage, and he has more issues of Makeup Paradise, right? But no, seriously, Jiraiya, he just isn't into politics. Of course, the elders knew this and knew he would probably deny it because it's the same thing he did for the position of the 4th Hokage, giving it to his student Minato. So they had plan B to track down and locate the Slug Sage. Hearing Tsunade's name, Jiraiya had a few flashbacks to when they were like old teammates, thinking how he hasn't seen or heard from Tsunade since he touched her rack for research purposes and got punched in the face. But Jiraiya snapped back to reality when a loud boom could be heard coming from the center of the village. Jiraiya and Mikula ran outside to look, and they saw the massive one-tailed beast stomping on buildings. Jiraiya said out loud, "Why is the sand attacking? Oh, damn it, Mikula, evacuate the villagers." And he turned to his sensei and said, "What about you?" Jiraiya just bit his thumb and said, "Don't worry about it." He jumped off the mansion roof and in mid-air did the summoning jutsu, summoning Ma and Pa Toad, and landed on the roof of another building. Fukasaku, or Pa Toad, said to Jiraiya, "Jiraiya boy, what is it now?" Then he looked in front of him and saw the giant sand monster, and Jiraiya said, "You're up to it, old friend?" And both Toads said, "Of course we are," and slapped their hands together and fused into Jiraiya's shoulder and started drawing in nature energy. Meanwhile, Kakashi and Naruto heard the loud explosion and went outside to see Shikaku. Naruto wanted to immediately rush in, but Kakashi advised him that he just woke up from an exhausting fight, so he should probably be taking it easy. Naruto was a bit angry, but there wasn't much he could do, so he stayed back. While they were doing this, Jiraiya was hopping from roof to roof to get closer to Shikaku. When he was close enough, Jiraiya jumped up and punched Shikaku. Since he's in his Sage mode, this punch would honestly send anything that size flying, but it's made of sand, so it absorbed most of the force. Shikaku turned around and sent wind bullets at Jiraiya, but he was able to dodge them. Kakashi, watching this, had an idea. He sprinted towards Shikaku while Jiraiya was distracted, and he used wall walking to climb up its back, and he slid down, grabbing Gaara out of its head and waking him up. He landed on the sand below, and the body of Shikaku just started melting and filling the streets with sand. So Kakashi basically saved the leaf, and after this he got a lot of praise by the villagers, enough that the elders decided to make him the new Hokage. Of course, this brought about a lot of questions like where did Hiruzen go, and they just came up with a lie saying, he just retired. Some villagers were really sus about this because normally he would do some sort of announcement himself, but I guess not. So I know this one's gonna be a bit shorter than usual, but unfortunately this is where I'm gonna be leaving this one off. I'm probably gonna be doing the finale in the next part. So yeah, thank you guys for sticking around to the end of the video. If you liked it, and if you like my content in general, hit that sub button, and I'll see you guys in the next What If.